Hi, I'm Lauren Baines, the Interim Director of the Saisset Museum at Santa Clara University. I'm excited to share with you a little bit about our exhibition Unexpected Perspectives and how it shifted with us over the course of the past few months. As we were first planning our exhibition calendar for the 2020-2021 season, we anticipated that a lot of people and programming might turn their attention to clarity and hindsight and 2020 vision. And as we all know, this year has developed a little differently than we anticipated. Nonetheless, the seed of this exhibition and the interest to look at artworks and artists who challenge us to see things differently remains, which led us to specifically the Helen Johnston Bequest Focus Gallery collection. And so pulling from this specific portion of our collection, we wanted to look at artworks that maybe offered unexpected compositions or subject matter elevated that maybe we're not traditionally used to seeing, or abstraction that brought familiar objects to the point of unrecognition. And we still have that, just now in a virtual format. Today we're going to talk a little bit about Brett Weston. Brett Weston is a California artist. He was born in 1911 in Los Angeles and is actually the second son of photographer Edward Weston. So maybe not surprisingly, since a young age, Brett Weston was involved in photography. At 13, he traveled to Mexico with his father as an apprentice, but also this was the first moment that he himself started taking images. And he was also around many artists that we would know their names today, and was influenced by Frida Kahlo and Diego Rivera and Jose Clemente Orozco and others. Several of these artists, specifically Rivera and Orozco, are credited with inspiring Weston's development of his own sense of form and composition. And overall, Weston's body of photography is noted for its abstraction. At times this comes through high contrast, and other moments through close-up images, but really again bringing our attention to unexpected subjects, everyday subjects in some cases, but always offering a new outlook on these materials and objects and environments, and challenging us because we're not always sure quite what we're looking at. So today we're going to examine 4 pieces. Again, these are all from our permanent collection, and we're going to talk a little bit about each one. In this first work that we're exploring from 1954, we clearly see his sense of high contrast and a little bit of the abstraction, but the subject still feels familiar. Whether it is glue or paint, we understand that there is a liquid substance, something that is viscous, something that is pouring, is flowing. So while we don't have a composition that gives us a clear foreground, background, environmental context, we're still able to navigate the image. We get the sense of movement, but again, there's that little bit of abstraction. When we see a slightly later work from 1962, I would argue this is less abstraction, right? We're getting a real close-up, a real detailed images of these ice fragments. But again, this is a unique perspective. This is not a distance, a perspective that we're used to having with ice fragments. And at this deep close-up level, we're invited to see so much detail, but it also starts to be an examination of form. We're seeing these sharp edges, triangular shapes, shards, if you will, that might start to remind us of other things that we're more familiar with than ice fragments. There's almost a floral element that's happening. So again, while we might be more familiar in a sense with the subject, the way that we're seeing it through Weston's lens is very unique for us. In this slightly later work from 1970, our sense of orientation is really upended. It's hard to tell if the objects that we're seeing are floating, are they static, where is the movement, where is the texture with this? There's a lot of tonality and a lot of texture, but without the reference, do we necessarily see that this is lichen on stone? Do we realize that that's what's happening? Again, it could almost sense that something is floating in air or through another substrate. And so we're starting to be challenged even further as things are abstracted. We're seeing things without contextual references of, is this an outdoor environment? How is this contained? And in this latest work of the 4 that we're examining today from 1975, we could really be misled if we just quickly glance at this work. It is a stark black and white image. It looks to be scratches, lines on a paper. We could almost think mistakenly that this is a plate, an etching that we're seeing, a work on paper. It is a work on paper as a photograph, but it's not a print. And with closer examination and following the line work, and maybe a little bit of help from the reference on the previous page, we realize these are reeds. These are natural elements that are being reflected in a body of water. So the lines are existing in our environment that you and I could see. We could walk outside and see them. But without taking the time to examine what's happening, Weston has completely abstracted them and transformed them into line work in a really, really exciting way. Thank you for joining us to look a little bit closer at our exhibition, Unexpected Perspectives, at the Saisset Museum. This virtual exhibition will continue to grow over the coming weeks and months as we share further images and videos with you that dive a little deeper, including some behind-the-scenes shots, so you can look forward to that. And thank you again. My name is Lauren Baines, and we look forward to sharing more with you.